From the very beginning, YAH has always used famine to test, purify, and draw his people back to himself. Famine is never random. It is his way of revealing who trusts in him and who turns to the nations. The very first famine appears right after YAH calls Abraham out. It becomes the moment where he teaches Abraham that provision does not come from Egypt, but from YAH alone. Genesis 12, verse 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. Isaac faces the same test his father did, but this time, YAH speaks directly and stops him from running to Egypt. In famine, YAH's voice becomes the direction. Genesis 26, verses 1 through 2. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And YAH appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell you of. Then comes the great famine of Joseph's day, a famine that covered the whole earth. Yet it was the very thing YAH used to save the family of Israel and to preserve the remnant. What looked like destruction was actually deliverance. And Joseph himself explains this to his brothers when he reveals who he is. Genesis 41, verse 56. And the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. Then Joseph himself explains in Genesis 45, verse 7, And Elohim sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. And in Elijah's day, famine exposed the nation's idolatry. While everyone else suffered, YAH fed his servants supernaturally, showing that obedience brings provision even when the land dries up. 1 Kings 17, verse 1. There shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And 1 Kings 17, verse 6. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning and evening, and he drank of the brook. And then YAH reveals the deepest meaning of famine through the prophet Ezekiel. He commands Ezekiel to bake bread made of many mixed grains. This is a prophecy that Israel would mix his Torah with the practices of the nations and eat doctrines that were unclean by Christianity. Ezekiel 4, verse 9. Take wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and spellet and put them into one vessel and make bread of it. Ezekiel 4, verses 12 through 13. And you shall eat it as barley cakes and bake it with dung that comes out of a man in their sight. And YAH said, Even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the nations where I will drive them. This is more than a picture of physical famine. It's a warning that when YAH's people mix his truth with idolatry, when Torah becomes blended with the pagan customs of the nations, their spiritual bread becomes polluted and defiled. They eat, but they are not nourished. And this is why YAH explains what real food actually is. Deuteronomy 8, verse 3. Man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of YAH does man live. The real food is his word. The first famine YAH sends is not a famine of bread, but a famine of truth. Amos 8, verse 11. Behold, the days come that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of YAH. After the famine of truth, always comes the famine of bread. YAH said he would break the staff of bread, which means the thing people rely on for stability would collapse. Food would exist, but it would not satisfy. Leviticus 26:26. You shall eat and not be satisfied. We are living in the early stages of this famine right now. The stores are full, but the food itself has changed. It's been stretched and processed and mixed and stripped of the nutrients. It looks like food, but much of it does not nourish the body. Just as mixed doctrines in Christianity and borrowed pagan traditions do not nourish the soul, people eat constantly but remain hungry. This is the quiet beginning of the famine. But before any physical famine arrives, YAH always feeds his remnant first. Joseph received insight before the famine. Elijah received provision before the drought peaked. Israel received Torah before entering the wilderness. In every generation, the remnant hears the warning early so they will not fear when YAH shakes the world. YAH prepares them before he judges the nations. And when famine does come, he makes a distinction. He feeds his people while the nations suffer. He sustained Elijah with miracles. He kept the widow's oil from failing. He gave Israel manna in a dry land. He nourished Jacob's family through Joseph. He's never failed his remnant. Genesis 47, verse 12. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren according to their families. 1 Kings 17, verse 16. The barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail. Exodus 16, verse 15. This is the bread which YAH has given you to eat, and he promises to do the same for the end-time remnant. So the final question remains for our generation, the same question YAH asked through every famine in Scripture. Whose table will you eat from? The table of the nations that bow down at communion and drink Yeshua or Jesus' blood and eat his flesh? Or the table of YAH? Psalm 37, verse 18 through 19. YAH knows the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. YAH knows the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. Isaiah 65, verse 13. Thus says Adonai YAH, behold, my servants shall eat, but you shall be hungry. My servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty.